What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome in. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are doing well. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me, see my screen. Get into some analysis here for the day. Technical analysis for ES and NQ. See where we're at overall. Morning, Xavier. Jarius. Good morning. Welcome in, welcome in. Turn on the light here. So the markets are pretty balanced here. ES and NQ are both kind of at some key resistance points. NQ made a relatively smaller move yesterday than ES. GC, yeah, I've got GC up here, and it's not really loading much, actually. I'm not really trading GC yet or anything. I'm just starting to check it out since everybody wants to talk about it. But Beast Gamer asked one question: how many trades a week do you take on average? It's really hard to say, man. I would say on a daily basis, like 1 to 3, maybe. Sometimes 0. Sometimes I take 5 to 10 trades a day if there's a lot of good opportunities. But I would say, I don't know. For those of you guys that are in flipping futures, what would you say? I would say on average, probably like 1 to 3 trades. It also depends. Like sometimes I'll have one trade idea, but I'll take 2 or 3 attempts on it. Maybe I get stopped break even 1 or 2 times. So it's like, do we say that's multiple trades or one trade with a couple attempts, managing risk tightly? I would say most days between 1 and 3 trades, or sometimes 0 trades. I took almost 0 trades yesterday. I got in a position to trade yesterday afternoon, but not really a day trade. So yeah, you're welcome. Glad you guys are tuning in. Yeah, ask questions throughout, guys. We got a few minutes here. We'll go through analysis to start the day, and it's kind of an open Q&A time for everybody to ask any questions and get kind of direct access with me here. So pretty informal, guys. We'll go through my analysis to start the day, and then we will, and I'll answer questions throughout. So let me pull up some charts here, guys. Let's just take a look at some daily charts, and so you can see what I'm seeing for my kind of overall analysis here. I'm just trading personal accounts, Beast Gamer. I don't like to play the games of not really prop trading, but just sim trading firms. I would rather just trade real capital, real money, my own. All right, so let's get into the analysis here, guys. Sorry, I'm pulling up my charts to a different view. I've been going through some different views this morning. So we'll just pull this up here. Let me move this over. So looking at the NQ chart, this is just an NQ daily chart. We can TradeX. I will get into that if you let me. TradeX asked me to get into an overview of what I do in flipping futures. That's not really the purpose of this. The purpose of this is just to go kind of free pre-market analysis. We'll go through. If we have good participation in these, then I'll do them more often and let you guys ask questions. But yeah, let me get back to that. Let's go through the analysis first, and we'll talk about it. So this is a key area you can see of resistance that I've been watching on NQ. You can see how we had a consolidation in this range for a while that broke down, right? And so this was an area where sellers were really aggressive and initiated that break of structure. So that's a key resistance area. And then we can see it rejected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kind of 6 times on the daily chart. And then we had this quick breakout over it that kind of the very next day immediately rejected back under it. So I still am watching this as kind of a key area. This was kind of a fake out, being that it broke out and then immediately recaptured back under this resistance area pretty much the next day. Now, this was a pretty large drop all the way back down to prior lows, and it's since recovered. So now we're kind of just continuing to be up and down in a large range for a few months now on both ES and NQ. So we've kind of been lacking continuation. Yeah, it's leaning bullish still, right? ES and NQ are both obviously leaning bullish. We're near all-time highs. But overall, we've basically just been up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down in a large range on both ES and NQ. So we're coming up back towards the top of this area that's been continuously resisted on both ES and NQ, even on a daily time frame over the last couple months. So this is that area, I would say around 26,000. We had these prior highs here, which was basically what a large liquidity grab here, fake out into, you know, this all-time high kind of supply zone that we formed, right? And then immediately dropped back under. So now that we broke back under this resistance area, kind of around 26,000 area, this is kind of that key resistance point on NQ. To the downside, we had such a large extended move yesterday. There's really not much structure to the downside for me. It's a little difficult in the current conditions have made this a little tricky location. We also have NFP week. So let me talk about the daily chart, and then we'll talk about kind of some fundamentals coming up. Let me drop this in the Discord. For those that are interested, actually, let me drop that in the pre-market game plan tab. There we go. All right, so that's that resistance area on NQ. Again, to the downside, you know, even looking at the volume profiles and charts, there's really not much. We had a high volume. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. We're just talking about some key higher time frame levels. I really don't have any key higher time frame levels to the downside right now on ES and NQ, other than these prior lows, possibly around this low. Okay, let's take a look at ES. So ES was relatively a bit stronger, and it's been relatively a bit stronger how we've been kind of breaking all-time highs and rejecting, breaking all-time highs, rejecting, and also holding higher lows. So you can see similar but different. We're still just basically up and down in a large range on ES, although it's kind of formed a little bit more of a upward grinding channel. And you can see here how we're back up. You know, we basically went from the lows of that channel to the highs of that channel yesterday, right? In one day, we had a large drop to start the week on Sunday, immediately captured and turned into an all-day buying event where we just squeezed higher all day long into the highs of this channel. Now, this area is an interesting area of resistance. We've seen a lot of absorption and rejection there multiple times between, you know, I have this zone marked, but it's not totally exact, but around like 70-15 to 70-30, call it. That area has been resisted multiple times, and these little pops over it have been short-lived. And that is all-time highs. So a little tricky here. You want to be very cautious, you know, going against momentum at all-time highs. However, just again and again, we've seen this area resist recently. What is this? 1, 2, 3. I'm not counting the wicks. So look at the candle closes, right? The day, this is purely just a daily chart. But we came up into this area basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, possibly 9 times and have not really closed above it. We've rejected every time we've come up into this range. So that's what I'm watching as far as higher time frame resistance. Now, obviously, we had this large like fake out drop to start the week all the way into this weekly low level that I've been watching from here. Again, we kind of had a fake out dip under it and recaptured. We hit that overnight and basically turned into a moonshot all day yesterday. I didn't really see any buying opportunities. We came all the way up to 7,000 in the first, you know, around like what, 10 a.m. yesterday. And basically from 10 a.m. on yesterday, it was just a consolidation, right? So we had a really extended move overnight and into the 10 a.m. news, continued that. And then since then, we basically just had a relatively sideways grind and consolidation. So those are some of the higher time frame areas that I'm watching. And again, to the downside, I really don't have much. There's not much structure that I really like here. So just kind of sitting back, staying patient here. Right, we have this large channel that we're in, where we've been resisting this area, and we've been supporting higher lows on drops, basically at the low of this channel and there. So pretty tricky conditions, especially on a big news week like we have this week in FP. So speaking of, let's talk about this. Thing. Pull up my little news thing here. So this is Market AI. I really like this tool for just a quick overview of the markets and news and upcoming earnings, etc. It's a great like all-in-one tool. Before, I was looking at like multiple different like Twitter accounts, like on X for news alerts and truth and everything. There's even a Trump tracker on here to track like different events and his things that he has upcoming that may impact the markets. So that's really convenient. But just looking at the economic calendar here, filtering out for just high impact stuff, we can see what is today? Jolt's job openings news at 10 a.m. So we have that upcoming at 10 a.m. today. That's the main one today. And then we have ADP non-farm payroll data release tomorrow. And then jobless claims on Thursday. And then Friday, we have non-farm payrolls. Anytime we have NFP week and FOMC rate decision weeks, those are two like kind of big weeks that I put a star on to watch out for different high impact news events coming out. It can be relatively trickier trading conditions, right? High impact news, followed by a lack of continuation consolidations, etc. Right? So we need to watch out for that coming out at 10 a.m. today. Now, let's see. Let's check out the volume profiles here. All right, so looking at NQ here, you can see this area where we've built consolidation basically since like 10 a.m. yesterday. This is a 30-minute chart with a full day session volume profile. On Sierra chart, I have a very similar configuration on Tradeovate too. So if you want to set this up, I have a video on YouTube going over how to set this up on Tradeovate. This is that 26,000 area. Again, that's that kind of key resistance area. And you can see this really large selling area here that left kind of a low volume node here, right? So we're rejecting just under that and kind of building consolidation here. So we're kind of in a tricky spot. We're under just under some key resistance. And also we have a really large volume tail here where we had that kind of fake out dip and just all day rally, or at least all morning rally yesterday. Right. So obviously a lot of buyers yesterday here, also coming into some resistance here. So a little bit in the middle. So some things that I'm watching this morning would first be if we do continue to hold, right? If we get a fake out drop and we continue to hold, you know, ideally above 25,800, right? If we kind of sweep out those lows and recapture and buyers are continuing to be just super aggressive, then we may see a reversion at least back towards the middle here, back towards 26,000, right? Basically combining the last two sessions volume profile, looking at kind of like a larger balance range here, right? Roughly like that. So the other thing that I'd be watching for is pops up into this prior low volume node where these aggressive sellers were, especially if we kind of sweep over these highs, fail and reject back in here, right? So that kind of aligns with the balance range that we formed so far in these last two sessions. We have kind of the middle between those around 29, right? Rough estimate here, guys, right? And we're kind of building a consolidation here. We have some resistance here where these sellers were really aggressive. They may want to reload on pops here. We have buyers down here that were really, you know, aggressive. We rallied all day yesterday. So if we take out the lows or highs of this, I'd watch. Now, on the flip side, if we break out of one of those, then I would watch for, you know, a break and retest outside of that structure. If we do that and we hold above this, that could be an indication that we're going to go take out these highs. Right? If we get strength above that area, above 26,000 again, then we could be going to take out these highs. Sorry, eyes bothering me. All right, now let's take a look at ES. Pretty similar here, pretty similar actually. Let's take a look at ES here. Where'd my snipping thing go? There it is. So you can see this area where we had a lot of consolidation. We had a failed auction up into all-time highs, got rejected really hard. This is that area between like, you know, the highs of it being like 70.15s to 70.30s. I would not be looking to short if we just rally up into all-time highs again, right? But we have this area that sellers obviously rejected pretty hard not too long ago. We're building a consolidation range here, right? So if we look at this volume profile combined over the last two sessions here, that volume is built pretty much between there. It's the bulk of the volume basically since 10 a.m. yesterday, right? We have these highs here where these sellers were really aggressive. So again, I'd kind of be looking for, let me clean this up a little bit. I don't like this. See the middle here, roughly around these overnight lows held there, kind of in the middle. Why is it doing that? It's not, I don't know. Anyway, we see the middle in there. So I'd kind of be looking first to see if we have any failed pops. If we break above at this point, I'm kind of, ES is relatively stronger than NQ. I feel like I'm more apt to take that fake out on NQ. NQ is relatively weaker. If ES continues to be strong, I doubt I'd add shorts up there. Actually, look at this low volume node. That's kind of the middle of right there. Interesting. So again, kind of watching out for that. If we kind of sweep under these lows and fail, or pop over these highs and fail, we're kind of building a consolidation range here under some resistance above where all these aggressive buyers were yesterday. And again, if we break down from here back under 7,000, ideally, then I'd watch out, for a retracement under this low volume, at least towards prep where we opened yesterday, value area low. Like this would be an interesting area. That's also around this area where we built all that consolidation. So this, I would say, pause. Let's do this. So we had all this consolidation right there yesterday, or what was this, last Friday? So I would watch out for that area specifically. And we had really aggressive buying back up through there. So if we break under this structure, we could be going to retest this area down here. So I'd watch out for that. If we break through that, then I don't really see anything other than prior lows down here. There's just not much structure that's formed in the current environment, current market context. If we get strength above here, above these highs, and we hold a breakout, there's not much in the way of just going back to all-time highs, especially on ES, which has been relatively stronger. Good morning, Clayton. Welcome in. So those are a few scenarios that I'm watching out for today. Again, it's very much going to be a stay patient and watch what develops day here. We have news coming out at 10 a.m. and then, the market participants are probably going to get more and more sidelined as we, go into the higher impact news at the end of the week, being ADP and NFP news. All right, so I'll go through some questions here. TradeX Jitsu asked, can you go through a description of what you do with flipping futures, what the membership entails, structured video lessons, webinars, etc.? Yeah, so the main thing is it's focused on live trading and coaching with me, right? So I trade live every day, Monday through Friday, unless I'm super sick or the market's closed. I'm in there live pretty much every day. And then our schedule right now on Fridays, I also do I trade live when I primarily trade live, which is the New York Open. And sometimes if there's some interesting stuff going on, then I'll jump on live in the afternoons. But primarily from like 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern, I'm live trading. It's not a signal chat. I do share my trades live, but it's not meant for people to just come in and try to copy me. I don't recommend anyone doing that. It's mainly focused on coaching and teaching. Right, so it's very different than what you'll see like most trading groups or signal chats, right? Then on Fridays, I do live coaching sessions, mentorship, where we go through different things from technical analysis to psychology and different stuff, and that's all formatted and saved. By the way, all the live trading sessions are saved, so you can go back and rewatch it if you miss it. You'll get in-depth analysis on all the trade setups that I take. And then for I'll just pull this over here so you can see. So for all the live training sessions that we do on Fridays, they're recorded and saved in a course format, which you can get access to review. So there's basically a full course that I've put in here in WAP that you get access to of live training. Everything from intro stuff to understanding supply and demand to exact trade setups that I like to take, the systems I like to use for having a trading system overall, how to identify these key levels and everything, and then managing trade, managing risk. And that was what we've went through the last few months in 2025. And then here in 2026, we're adding more. I do need to add, I have 2 or 3 more recordings to add into here. So basically we do basically live training and a live course every week. And that gets added to kind of a knowledge base in WAP in a course format where everyone can access and review. So new members can come in and get access to that. There's like 12 or 13 hours right now of live training content in there, in addition to the live trading that I do. We also have a book club /study group that's going on today. So right now we're going through the Studies and Tape Reading, which is one of my favorite books. And we'll go through pretty much different trading books. And then I do a lesson, basically a mini coaching lesson on the reading from that week, and different key takeaways. And in other books, we'll also have more kind of practice exercises for people to go through for lessons and things that we learned from the different trading books that we're going through. So that's it in a nutshell. And that's all just under basically one simple subscription. Very, very, very low ticket for the amount of value that I think people get in there compared to basically everything else in the trading space. But that's that. What exactly do you add to institutional trading? Order flow asked, what exactly do you add to look like this? Are you talking about volume profiles? I have a video going over it on YouTube. You can see how to set up volume profiles on Trade-of-8 like mine. Hey, go Harali, welcome in. Welcome in. It's going good. It's going good. We just went through analysis. So if you want, you can go back and rewatch the recording here. We went through kind of the pre-market analysis scenarios and things that I'm watching out for here this morning. Yeah, no problem. TradeX Jitsu. Send me a message on Instagram if you guys have any questions. That's the best way to get a hold of me. All right, guys. Going to step away for a minute. For those of you in Flipping Futures, we'll be back for the live trading session in just a few minutes. If you're not in there already, hope to see you guys in there. If not, hope you guys get a lot of value out of going through this analysis to start the day together. And again, very responsive. If you guys do have questions or things, just send me a message on Instagram. That's the best way to get a hold of me. Thanks, Astro Trades. Appreciate you guys joining in here. And I'll see you guys back tomorrow. I'm doing these pre-market live streams every day this week. And so if you guys missed it today or you tuned in late and you want to be in for the pre-market analysis tomorrow, we'll be back here, same time and place. Thanks, guys. Peace.